imagine this is you on a day, tough day at work, or a day that after you've been working out for a long period of time or something like that, and you're feeling defeated, you're feeling exhausted, whatever, and you're sitting kind of like this, and just trying to figure out what's next in life, okay? But the inherent problem with this is the positioning, right? It's not a good position of good posture, and it's going to affect your tissues, and it's going to affect your mood, and ultimately it's going to destroy your ability to train. So what you want to do is combat that with some mobilizations, say some joint mobilizations and soft tissue mobilizations. Say, for example, we want to work on the pec to open this area up, because that is exactly the opposite of this, right? And then we want to work on the lats also, because that's something else that gets tight when you sit in this crappy position for long periods of time. And then also the upper traps, those also get tight from this slouched positioning, okay? So I'm going to show you one technique for each of those today, okay? So let's start with the pec, okay? So we're going to get the trusty supernova, okay? We're going to lie down on your stomach. What you want to do is you want to get that supernova right there on that pec, and any of this stuff is fair game. What we have here is the subclavius. That muscle is super tight, dives down and joins that pec, and they spiral in and attach here on the humerus. We're going to get into that, and we're going to put our arm behind our back, and then we're going to come out like overhead, okay, and try and open up that overhead position, okay? So 2 minutes on each side, okay? I'm just going to give you a little demonstration here. Find a good spot. Maybe you find some part of the tissue that's extremely stiff, more so than others, and then you want to try and bridge your weight up. I'm going to put a lot of weight on that ball there, stabilize, squeeze my butt, and let that sink in, and then I'm going to bring my arm out. Maybe you have an object out here that you want to clear. Make sure that you're doing it properly. Take a breath, pause, come back, okay? 2 minutes of that, and your chest is going to be feeling amazing. All right? Number 2, the lat, okay? So we're going to go to the lat with the same tool, mobility tool. Maybe you could use a supernova. If you don't have a supernova, you can use a foam roller. It's not going to be as effective, but it's going to capture a broader area depending on what the issue is. So I'll demonstrate both. You want to try and anything from the hip all the way up to the joint line is game, okay? So it'll be up to you to feel around and find out where you're stiff, okay? And as always, you want to mobilize in the position of restriction. So say you stop here and you're getting tight right there. You want to try and get to that end range, bridge up, and slowly pancake that tissue back and forth. And if it's not painful, then move on to another section. If you're not doing it right, or it's not crappy tissue, okay? So you want to spend about 4 or 5 minutes on this one, believe it or not, depending on how stiff you are and how well you're doing the exercise, okay? So when I get closer to the joint, I would prefer to kind of switch over. The tissue starts becoming really, really stiff, and this thing's really not going to be able to get in there as effectively. You could use this, or you could use a lacrosse ball. You could use a peanut for, that matter. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to get that under there. Maybe we'll go right on the joint line for this one. Let that sink in. And then bridge up onto that. And maybe just to start out, I'll just bring my arm down and do a couple of pass-throughs of this limited range of motion. Always try and make sure you keep your neutral spinal position, okay? You never want to lose that and be bowing back like that, because then you're just mobilizing, and you're not really mobilizing at all. You're just moving weird on the floor. You don't want anybody to catch you doing that. All right, so right there, now I can go ahead and do some internal and external rotation, because we know that that external rotation tends to be limited there. Put that arm overhead. If everything here is spun tight, you want to unspin it and unwind it. Good, so let that be part of your 4 to 5 minutes on there. All right, and the last one I want to show you is going to be the, oh wait, 2 more. Okay, so now I want to show you upper trap scrubbing, okay? This is a great tool to use for that, and you can also use the lacrosse ball. So what we're trying to do is get here on the upper trap, any part of that upper trap where it connects, mainly here between the spine, and all the way out to the medial border of the scapula, and you can come up a little bit above that scapula, okay? So what we're gonna do is get a 45-pound plate. You're gonna get that ball down on that tight trap, grab onto the plate, and then you're just gonna bridge up. Let that thing sink into the trap there. And then you're just gonna do some gentle rocking from side to side. See if you can get that supernova to dig in a little bit, go a little bit deeper. Every time you turn, you can twist the plate, get a little bit of shearing in that superficial fascia, in that deep fascia. Oh, this is beautiful. So you want to do this one, maybe about 2 minutes on each side. Again, depending on how stiff you are, if you got traps like Bill Goldberg or not. All right. Last but not least, we want to get into the thoracic spine, right? Because crappy positions create stiff, crappy thoracic spine. Okay. So what we'll do for that is maybe a little bit of, grab yourself a peanut, we'll do a little bit of T-spine mob and or box breathing. So if you have your plates there, you may as well throw those on. All right, so I'm gonna start maybe mid T-spine because that's the area where we get most stiff. And one thing actually I can help you with is I'm gonna show you how to assess your T-spine extension with rotation. This is where most people kind of are terrible, okay? So if you sit back on your heels, get your elbows together, hands together, and come down and elbows touch your knees, okay? Then you're gonna take one hand and put it behind your back, okay? Still sitting back on your heels, and then you're gonna try and rotate, okay? So rotating, you should be able to get about 50 degrees of extension with rotation on each side to be considered normal, okay? So I'm gonna go down in the position and demonstrate, okay? Rotating, and it should be fairly effortless. And you may find that one side's easier than the other and one side may not make it all the way. It could be a motor control problem. You'd have to have somebody assess you on that. Passively, I can't do that from here, but most likely it's a mobility problem. So hit this mobilization and then retest yourself and see if you made that improvement, okay? So T4 through T8 are the main sections of the thoracic spine where we get stuck, and that's what we want to try and emphasize. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this weight, put it on the front of the rib cage to pin those ribs down directly above where I have the peanut, and then I'm going to hug it. Okay, pull it into your chest, bridge up, breathe, all the way in, 4 seconds, pause for 2 seconds, and all the way out, 4 seconds. Pause for 2 seconds at the bottom, okay? You can also tie in some arm-shoulder movement. Maybe I'll rock over to that side a little bit to pin those ribs down. Work on 4 or 5 of those segments until you feel like you made some kind of reasonable, appreciable change, okay? Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you, and reach out to me via email, or you can just comment on the video and I'll try and get back to you, all right? And now you'll be ready to go overhead and PR today.